All right, we're now joined by the head coach of the Pelicans, Willie Green. Willie, first off, thanks for joining us. We're here in the summertime. It's been 2 months out from the season ending. Obviously, y'all did not hit the goals you wanted to.
Yeah.
When do you say last season's in the rearview mirror and we just got to move on to this season, like upcoming season? When does that happen where you just say it's time to move on?
Yeah, Garland, first of all, thanks for having me. And, you take a couple weeks after the season and just sort of decompress, evaluate, where we were. And then as the offseason progresses, you slowly but surely just start to move forward to the offseason, to summer plans, and on to the next season.
With the draft coming up and free agency, does that kind of reinvigorate you to get ready for the new season? I mean, it's almost here. The draft is right around the block here. Does that kind of get you fired up for what's coming in the future?
Yeah, it does. And I've already been fired up. I've been fired up pretty early this season after, just not reaching some of the goals that we wanted to reach last season, not having the season that we all set out to have. We're all, fired up to be better. And definitely with the draft and free agency coming up, there's more excitement in our building.
And you have 2 first-round picks now. You had the 7th pick. Now you have another one in the 20s. I know Joe and them are doing a great job right now scouting that talent. Do you think y'all are going to keep both those picks? I mean, we're going to be sitting there all night long on that first night there. What do you think is going to be the mindset with the Pelicans next Wednesday?
Well, for sure. I think we're going to keep both picks. And, we trust, Joe and Troy and those guys to obviously go after talented guys, high character guys, and bring them into our building so that we can add to the group that we already have.
Take me back to your draft.
Yeah.
You're coming out of Detroit Mercy, 2003. First off, did you have the big party at your house the night of the NBA draft? Because back then it was both rounds were on one night. Now it's 2 separate nights. What was going on in the greenhouse for the 2003 NBA draft?
Well, yeah, we had a party, sort of a party. It was at my uncle's house in his basement. And a lot of friends and relatives, family there. And I could just remember the excitement of having the opportunity to play in the NBA. I didn't really care what team, where I was going, but I knew I was going to have an opportunity to play. And that was special. It changes your life. And then once my name was called, 41st pick, 2003, the whole basement erupted. Pizza and wings and stuff, and we just had a good time as a family, and it really did. It changed my life circumstances.
So when it got to the end of the first round, were you getting nervous, or were you just, like you said, were you just happy to be picked, or was there a point in your own experience where you're like, oh my goodness, my name might not be called tonight? Yeah,
that goes through your mind. You definitely you deal with the fact that there's a possibility that your name is not called, and if it didn't, then I was going to have to try to, figure out how to make a team at some point. But, I was blessed and fortunate that my name was called. Seattle, but I ended up getting traded to Philadelphia that same draft, and the rest is sort of history. So really exciting time, really fun. And then, that's when the work really starts, is you get drafted, you get to your team, you got to play summer league, and then now you're trying to carve a career out for yourself.
You talk about your career. You were in the league for 12 years. In your wildest dreams, you're playing high school ball at Cooley. Did you think that, first off, you were going to have an NBA career, and second, you would be a veteran? 12 years is a long period of time to be in the league.
No, I didn't. I honestly, at that point, during those times, the NBA was so far removed. We didn't have social media. I didn't have a cell phone in high school, so you don't know that you can even attain to get to that level. It was really about the focus, back then was, can I be the best high school player? Can I be the best player in my district, in my region? Can I be the best player in the city? And so forth and so on. And then, eventually once you get to college, you give yourself an opportunity and you give yourself a chance. But, the NBA was far away from what I thought I could be at the time, but I knew I was getting better as a basketball player.
You were kind of a legend in Detroit. And then Joe Dumars was also there at the same time.
Yeah.
how crazy is this NBA life that all of a sudden, like, y'all's worlds collide again, where he was playing for the Pistons and winning titles, and you were playing there in high school and in college?
I mean, Joe is he's a bigger legend than I am. But that Bad Boys team that he played on, it was truly the heartbeat of the city. They were very similar to the people in Detroit. You know, hard-nosed, they were tough, they were professional, they liked to have a good time, and that was the city of Detroit. And so I grew up watching that team. I grew up watching Joe and Isaiah, Vinnie Johnson, and Rick Mahorn and all those guys. And I met Joe for the first time when I was in high school. I was a sophomore in high school. He had a place called the Joe Dumars Fieldhouse in Detroit, Michigan, where all the high school camps were, and you could go play kind of like a rec ball. And I had a chance to meet Joe. That was the first time I met him. We had a quick discussion. And then, you know, over the years, I had more interactions with Joe, and it's really cool to see how the life circle works, and now have an opportunity to partner with him here in New Orleans.
When you heard that there was a chance that Joe was going to be hired, I mean, were you like, oh my goodness, I mean, worlds colliding? What was your input there with the ownership when you heard that there was a chance that Joe, a person you've known for a long period of time, that was going to be coming to New Orleans?
I was excited, extremely excited. You know, Joe, he's a winner, and he's won at a high level everywhere he's gone. And so, you know, I'm really excited to learn what he does from a leadership perspective, you know, how he's going to put his stamp on our team, how we can partnership, because we all want the same thing. We want to put a team on the floor that represents this community, represents this city. We want to win at a high level, and you know, I'm excited for, you know, the future here in New Orleans.
Joe did some local interviews with media, including Madeline Adams, who works with me. He was talking about how Zion is the face of the franchise. What conversations have you and Joe had about getting Zion back on track? Because when the Pelicans drafted him, we had high hopes for Zion, and he's hit some mountaintops sometimes, but also he's hit some valleys. Yeah. What's that conversation like with Joe to kind of get one of your face of your franchise, one of the people that everybody recognizes, get him back to where he can be an NBA possible All-Star?
Well, it's just getting back to the basics. It's you know, taken pride and ownership in his ability to be on the floor and lead his teammates, which he's shown he can do at a high level. It's you know, consistently, you know, working on the health component of health and conditioning is going to be important. And we all know when Zion's on the floor, you know, he's one of the best players in the NBA. And so our goal is to get him on the floor, get him healthy, and then, you know, continue to work on just being simple. If we can, you know, do the simple better than everybody else, we got a chance to be good. And so getting healthy for our team will be important. But he spearheads that. And, you know, we want to see the best version of Z on the floor. When we do, we know that he's more than capable.
Last season, I know you probably haven't seen, you talk about injury with Zion. Yeah. I know you haven't seen an injury run like you had last season. No. And I know how much you love basketball. How tough was it some mornings to get up when it got into like March and April and you're out of the playoffs and your roster doesn't look the same as it did in training camp? How do you, on your own mind, get yourself mentally ready every day to go out there when everything seems against you on the floor and off the floor with injuries?
Number one, prayer. Waking up every day and trying to have a routine that works. And, you know, sometimes you're thrown into some challenges that you can't control. But what we could control is our preparation, how we go about our business every day, how we get on the floor and teach, watch film, how we practice, the habits that we create for one another. And that was the focus. Can we be a team that's prepared and go out and try to attack each and every game? And I felt like our guys did the best they could, and our staff did. And so, you know, sometimes you're thrown into some challenges, and those challenges will prepare you for what's next. And last season was definitely challenging for our whole group. But it makes you stronger. It makes you tougher. It allows you to have an understanding of what you can get through. And then you just try to be better, you know, for the next opportunity. Training camp,
late September, early October. Do you foresee any? I know we had a lot of injuries that you dealt with. Do you think everybody will be ready to roll for training camp, or is there some guys that might not be ready when we get ready to see y'all go to Australia and everything in early October?
Well, as far as we can see, that most of our guys will be ready for training camp. There could be some room in that space where guys may be a few weeks here and there, but we expect everybody to be ready.
I know it's June, but in your own head, are sometimes you thinking about plays, or do you have like a whiteboard at home? Are you like, oh, I can put Zion on this spot, or I can have DeJounte here, or CJ, or Herb, or Trey? Do you write up plays like tomorrow morning? You wake up, does something pop into your head? How does that
work? Most definitely. I'm doing that all summer long. I'm thinking of new plays, new ideas, new concepts. I'm texting our players, and as the playoffs is going on, what y'all think about that play? Did you see that? And so we're always in constant dialogue of what are some things that's working for us. But my mind is always going, even throughout the summer of, okay, this might work for Zion. Let me write this down, or I want to call this, or I want to change this, and that's happening all year long. And then once you get to the season, you try to make sure that you have a really solid foundation of defense, offensive concepts that you want to run.
You talk about contact with the players. Joe said in one of the interviews recently that he had Zion. They had some. I think he went to his hotel. They watched a game. What kind of interaction do you have with the players? Is it just via text in the offseason? How does that go with your guys?
Well, we have some guys that's in, so I'm able to see those guys. Some of our younger guys are in right now, and then I've taken a few trips to go see a few of our players, and I try to make a habit of going to see them where they are, going to watch them work out, going to lunch or dinner, and so I'll make my rounds with try to touch all of our players at some point on the road and go see them for a couple days, and you just keep a really good rapport. You dive into some of the things that they're doing in the off season, talk about life, just normal conversations, but it's also letting them know how much we care about them, and I care about their well-being, and just continuing to get that buy-in from our players. I
know Herb is an avid fisherman. Have you been fishing with Herb Jones ever?
I have not been fishing with Herb yet, but that's on the books. I don't fish, so I haven't been fishing. But Herb and we're supposed to go fishing at some point.
We're not in practices. We only get to the end usually when y'all are shooting free throws. Do you still find yourself getting out there? Do you think you could still run for a minute or so? Like 1 minute, like a quick run?
No, I'm done.
You can shoot some. You shoot.
I can shoot. I can shoot against some guys. Some of them I can still beat. I won't name names here, but I can still shoot against our guys. But I really try not to get on the floor too much. I'm getting old, and once you've gotten through the NBA and a little bit of pickup after, and everything's still intact, I want to keep it that way.
You're in the last year of your contract. Do you even think about that? Is that in the back of your mind, or you don't care? You just want to focus on getting your guys back to good?
Yeah, I don't really focus on that too much. I got a job to do, and I'm excited, and I try to approach that with gratitude and walk in every day and try to attack, the task at hand. And so a lot of times those things take care of themselves, and I'm excited about getting on the floor with our guys when that time comes, and really just trying to move forward, trying to get our team in a good space and win as many games as we can.
Talk about winning games. You've made the playoffs twice.
Yeah.
I know you've had some great moments with this franchise. Is there one thing that sticks out maybe in the playing game against the Clippers? Your speech on the sideline going in that fourth quarter, reinvigorated guys that got you into the playoffs there. Y'all made 2 first-round appearances. What has been some of the highlights in your time here in New Orleans?
Well, that's definitely one of them. Not necessarily my speech, but the journey that it took to put ourselves in a position to be in the play-in against San Antonio, then the Clippers, to play Phoenix in the playoffs that first season. What we had to overcome to get to that point. Going into the second season, we have another play-in experience. We end up losing that one. Third season, we get to the playoffs again. So, just having that journey in general with all of our players and staff, and even last season, we're going to look back on it and we're going to be grateful that we had, we were able to go through that and be able to come out of it and be better. And that's the goal. Life doesn't promise us that we're going to always, reach those goals, but we're going to continue to strive, continue to work at it. And, when I look back, I'm thankful for the journey.
This upcoming season, if we want to see the Pelicans back in the playoffs, what has to be one or two underlying things that have to happen? Obviously, health is going to be the biggest thing. But what else needs to happen for us to see the Pelicans back in the playoffs? And that'd be, if they do make it, it'll be the third time in 5 seasons you as the head coach.
Yeah, I mean, we have to move forward to being a team that's super, super competitive and to bring a toughness and physicality to the game, which we were doing, and we kind of took a step back last season. So those are some things that we want to see from our group. Those are concepts that we'll continue to implement. We're doing it now and even going into training camp and so on and so forth. But, at this point, it's not a lot of talking. We know what we have to do, and we want to take steps of moving in the right direction with our group. We'll get healthy, and then we'll go from there.
Watching these NBA Finals, did you sweat a little watching OKC and how they can go like 10 deep on the court? And you see them every year. This team is a young team, and the only reason I bring them up is because they're on your side, and it feels like they're going to be there for a little while.
Yeah, it's been an exciting playoffs. It's been bittersweet because we want to be there, we want to be playing in the playoffs, but it's been exciting to watch just as a supporter and somebody that loves the game. And it's been highly competitive. It's been fun. I mean, these two teams, OKC and Indy, have been going at it. It's physical. Good to see two young teams play at such a high level. And, we want to be right there next season when we get the opportunity.
And it's always a talk about the Knicks and the Celtics and the Lakers, all the big cities. Yeah. This has got to bring hope to people like in New Orleans, where it's the Pacers, Oklahoma City, small media markets, small cities. And it shows you if you build through the draft, you make some trades, it can happen anywhere. Does that give you hope for what's going to happen in the future to see two teams from the Midwest?
Oh, absolutely. It should definitely give all smaller market teams hope and an understanding that we can get there too. You just got to continue to keep giving yourself a chance, and that's the goal for us. Is next season to give ourselves a chance to be there.
Are you excited about going to Australia? I mean, y'all going to be the first NBA team to go to Australia. Is the family coming? Is this just a straight business trip? How is that going to go in October?
We haven't got there yet. I don't know necessarily if they're going, but we're all excited. We're excited about the opportunity to get there, and it'll be new for us. It's new for Australia, and we're excited about the partnership to be there, to have an opportunity to play 2 games. And so it'll be fun, and we want to take full advantage of it.
Draft night, it's almost here, next Wednesday. Do you have a ritual on draft night? Do you wear the same, I know you like to wear pullovers. Is there something that you do for draft night? I know you're not making the pick personally, but you're in the room. But what kind of goes through your mind, or what do you wear there? Is it different or anything? You got superstitions?
No superstitions for me draft night. We just want to bring a player in, bring a couple players in that's going to help our organization and our team move forward. But I have no superstition. Clean underwear. I wear probably a pullover, and that's it, man. I'm just excited about that time. Excited for the young men that we get an opportunity to bring into our organization.
What has Mrs. Benson said? What kind of support has she given? Because obviously her other team dealt with a ton of injury issues, and they missed the playoffs. You almost mirrored what the Saints did. Yeah. What has Mrs. Benson said during this tough stretch that y'all been dealing with?
She was absolutely great during this time. Extremely supportive, communicated throughout the whole season, and it's refreshing. It's refreshing to have leadership like Miss B. And it gave me even more confidence as a coach, more confidence as a leader, to continue to go out and do the things that we know we're supposed to do to help our team be successful. So I'm really appreciative. Yeah.
You got the 2 draft picks in the first round. Do you think this is going to be in a quiet offseason, or are we going to see some fireworks from the Pelicans? I mean, I keep hearing about all this big movement there. What should we expect from the Pelicans come July?
Yeah, I think we will have our discussions, and again, we'll try to make the best decisions that move our team in the right direction. Will that be a lot of moves? I don't think that'd be a ton of moves. We got a really solid team. We like our group. But we'll try to add. We'll try to get some players in here that they fit the standard of where we want to go. We want to be competitive. We want to be a good defensive team. We want to have high character. And those will be guys that we go out and look for. Is
it still old school with the preparation of the draft? Are guys still coming in and you still doing all the workouts? Yeah. The media used to be allowed, and we would see some of these guys. How many? Is there a max on people, or how many people have been through the Pelicans facility this offseason?
We didn't have as many workouts as we've had in the previous years, but yeah, we had good groups coming in, highly competitive guys. It was fun. It's fun to get to know these young, talented potential draft picks. You get a chance to interview them, so you sit in front of them, you learn a lot about them. You get to see them on the floor, take them through different scenarios and concepts, and so that's pretty standard for most teams, and I think most teams are still doing that.
And these guys, it's kind of harder because if you draft a 18-year-old, then you're obviously y'all are in win now mode.
Yeah.
And if you draft an 18-year-old, it's kind of tough, the difference between building a roster for the future or win now mode. What's been that conversation with Joe when y'all bring those guys in?
Yeah, again, I trust Joe. He's done this, he's done it at a high level, and as I'm talking to him about his thoughts and how he views a young player versus a more experienced player, he has great insight on how he wants to go about that. And again, my responsibility is I trust him. I give him feedback if he asks anything, but I think we're going to have a chance to bring in two really good basketball players.
You still have a few months until training camp begins.
Yeah.
Is there some place or you go with your family or you want to visit that kind of is a place where you just makes you feel at ease? Either I enjoy skiing sometimes, I like going to the beach and not being bothered. Is there some place that that you're like you're zen?
Yeah, I'm pretty simple. I like going back home to Detroit, Michigan. All my family is there. My parents, my nieces and nephews, my siblings, and then our favorite vacation spot as a family is we go to Cabo, and that's my opportunity to just look at the water, go to the beach, lay out by the pool, read a book, and just kind of relax. And then those are the two places that I'll probably get to at some point.
And you have 3 children, 2 of them play basketball. Do you see any of the traits in your game crossing over to your son that's in college and your one that's in 8th grade?
I do. And the biggest thing I tell them or teach them is to compete, is work hard, try to outwork everybody you can, but every time you step on the floor or practice, compete. Be a good listener, compete, be a good teammate. And I'm proud of them no matter what they do, but if they want to play sports, you're going to have to be a good teammate, you're going to have to work hard, you're going to have to be very competitive to play at a high level, and they're doing it. And so I'm super proud of them.
So I'm a father that likes to get away from everybody. I usually sit in the corner by myself because I don't want to hear anybody hear me talk about other people or anything, so I stay by myself. What is your spot when you're at a game watching one of your sons? Are you in the middle with the fans? Do you try to go into the corner, or are you vocal? Like how do you have to watch yourself during a game?
I can sit with everybody. I'm not the person that y'all got to worry about. My son's got to worry about. It's my wife.
Okay. Oh, okay.
She is the one screaming and
all right,
yelling at them, and I'm kind of calm, and I might talk to him the next day or after the game a little bit, but I'm pretty calm, and I just like to sit there and enjoy it and watch the game, and I'm hoping that they do well, and when they don't, they'll hear from me a little bit after, but I'm pretty much calm during the game.
Is there a rule? Can't talk about it until the next morning?
We try to.
You try to stay away from talking in the car? Because I heard talking to somebody right after the game in the car is like a bad idea.
Yeah, I try to. I've threatened a couple times that we were going to leave a tournament if they don't play harder. But other than that, I try to wait till the next day. If I'm going to have any criticisms or praise, whatever it is, I'll just say good game. Hey, good game. And then the next day, I'll kind of give them a few bullet points of what I saw.
In the summer, when you're with your kids, I know you said you're not playing on the court with the Pelicans. Are you still playing one-on-one with your kids at all? Is that still happening?
I got bragging rights as the best shooter in our house, and until one of my sons beat me, that's where we are.
That's the next question I asked you. I'll never forget when I was like 13 years old. My father's a lot older than me. And I'll never forget, I was like hot from three, and I beat him the first time. And I did a dance around the court and all that. My dad was not thrilled with me at all. Do you feel like, one of your sons is in college, so he's getting to the point where he can get close. Do you ever foresee that day that it could happen that one of the kids takes you down?
Well, he missed that window. I gave him to a certain point. I said, when I get 40, you got to beat me before I get 40 years old.
Okay.
And he didn't beat me consistently and he didn't beat me. So I told him I wasn't going to play him no more after 40. So
it's over?
It's over. The youngest got a chance.
Okay.
He can't beat me yet, but the oldest, no.
So there's an expiration date on when you can play Willie Green in one-on-one.
I'll probably give him one more chance. He'll probably get me. We all beat our fathers at some point.
Willie, thanks so much for your time, sir.
Thanks, Garland.